Sheesh. Yeah. Everybody want to be in entertainment till it's time to get down to the business. Yeah, Glitz and Ghetto, Glitz and Ghetto, yeah, Glitz and Ghetto, it's Glitz and Ghetto, Glitz and Ghetto, it's Glitz and Ghetto. The glitz and glamour is a setup, cause behind the scenes it really gets ghetto, yeah.
What up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of the Glitz and Ghetto podcast, where we know the entertainment industry seems glitz and glam on the outside, but on the inside it is glitz and ghetto. What's up, y'all? It's your host. I am Naderah, host of the Glitz and Ghetto podcast, and I'm so excited to be coming to you guys with a new week of the Glitz and Ghetto podcast because, baby, it's a lot that's been going on. And if you tuned into our last couple episodes, you know we've been talking about goals, but the year is off to an amazing start, and we just got to start Black History Month off right. Okay, it's our first episode of Black History Month, and so you know we're about to get into some tea. We're going to be talking about all things bliggity, biggity, blit, blit, blah, 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 baby, as well as getting into some historical facts that you guys should know because I wouldn't be me if I didn't teach you a few lessons, okay? That's what we're expecting here on the Glitz and Ghetto podcast. Now, before we get into the episode, we got to do a little bit of housekeeping, and I want to make sure that you guys are following us on all social media platforms. You can find us at the name that is on the screen at the Glitz and Ghetto podcast. On Instagram, that's glitz and underscore ghetto, spelled GHETTEAUX. On Instagram, you can also follow me on Instagram at IAM_Naderah, where you can get access to all of my pages and all the amazing things that I like to do inside of this world, as well as we want to hear from you guys. Like, I want to make sure that I'm producing episodes that are feeding you guys the information that you want to hear. I get DMs all the time. I have people that have questions all the time. And so if you are an aspiring entertainer, if you are a supporter of an aspiring entertainer, or a friend or family member of someone who you know is inside of the industry and just wants to get good knowledge and good teaching, please have them to send a email to us at glitzandghetto@gmail.com or send us a DM because we want to hear from you guys. What good is a show that's giving out information if I'm not giving you the information that you want? Duh. So go ahead and write us. I can't wait to hear from you guys. And yeah, that is our housekeeping. So, before we get into anything Black history related, etc., you know, the girl is a proud Black woman. Let's talk about what's actually happening with the tea, honey. Glorilla's sister, ma'am, have you lost your mind? You feel like you are obligated to your sister's wealth? You feel like you are obligated to her success because you were in the struggle with her? I'm so sorry to tell y'all, but it just doesn't work like that. And unfortunately, I don't know what Glorilla's sister's relationship is with her, but they had a lot of siblings. You know what I'm saying? Glorilla is one of the middle children, as she has said in other interviews. And if you know anything about the middle child, I don't want an odd number of children because I do believe that middle child syndrome is really a thing. But they're usually the odd ones out. And I feel like they are misunderstood. They are the people that are pushed to the side. They are given a lot of responsibility, but they're oftentimes ignored. So I don't know what Glorilla's relationship is like with her sister, but the simple fact that her sister is getting online and bashing her and going to places like TMZ where I know she got a check for that interview. And if she didn't get a check, she a fool because people are making money off of your content and you saying things. But whatever, I digress. Something got to be fishy inside the water. Okay? One of the first things I want to talk about is the Black tax. When you are a Black family member and you were one of the first to make it, people oftentimes look at you like you owe them or like you should be paying their way through life because you made it. And I'm going to be the first to tell you, like, I don't come from the richest family in the world. And a lot of my family is very proud of where I am right now. But a lot of them also think that I just got money flowing out of my ears. And because they see me on stage with the biggest stars in our movies and TV shows, that I just got it like that. And so sometimes I don't hear from certain family members unless they are asking me for money. And I make it very clear. I'm a very direct person and I get in trouble for this all the time, but I'm kind, but I'm very direct. I'm going to tell you what it is. If the only time I get to hear from you is when you ask me for money, don't call me. don't call me. We all got life and life be life, and I understand. But if I'm not reaching out to you only for money, don't reach out to me only for money. Check on me, see how I'm doing, because guess what? Yes, I'm successful, but baby, this industry is hard and it's wearing and tearing on my mentality and my mental health. And the last thing I need is somebody else pulling at me versus being in my family, lifting me up, supporting me through this journey. And then, of course, if you need something, I always got your back. I always have your back. And what I will also say is that I come from a family where within my immediate household, my mom did an exceptional job at making us spectacular, okay? And this is no shade to nobody else. I'm just talking about me and my household, okay? My mom did a great job at that. And I just feel that a lot of times what happens is when you all are the ones that went to college and you got a degree and you all educated since you got your degree and everything. um People oftentimes look at us like we the ones that made it, and so they usually have their hands out. And it's like, I love you, and I'm gonna support you, and I'm gonna give to you and your needs, even if it's your children doing a fundraiser or whatever. But you are not entitled to my success. I don't owe anybody anything. I owe it to my mother for, instilling these things inside of me and making sure that she is okay. But even my mom is not the type of mother that feels obligated to anything. But we do spoil my mom because she's such a great mother. And I think most people do that for their parents. But when it comes to Black families specifically, we oftentimes don't talk about the fact that, like, once that one family member makes it, everybody leans on that family member to have the same amount of success. Like, if Glorilla got Gucci Louis Prada, then everybody should have Louis Gucci Prada. And that's just not the way it works, because this entertainment industry is extremely expensive. And let me tell you something. I've not had the pleasure of working with Glorilla just yet. I'm sure someday I'll be able to work with her, be around her team, etc. But I know many people that are on her team, and she does have a really great camp, to my knowledge. Like, people enjoy working with her, but they work their behinds off over there. So when Glorilla's sister gets on and she's just like, oh, she showing her friends this and she's showing her friends that, baby, her friends are working. Her friends are working their way to get paid so that they can have access to the lifestyle. It's not a free ride over there. For her to be as relevant as she is, I know y'all think that once a person is on, they on forever. No, it's literally a machine. You have to oil it. You have to tend to it. You have to give it maintenance. You have to keep it up. You have to keep it relevant. And that takes a lot of work, not from just the person that is the artist, but a team of people to keep that going. On my first episode of this year, I talked about how you need to have a creative team, or not even this first episode, but I talked about how you need to have a creative team of people that are around you that want to see you succeed and that are not just going to be yes men to say, oh, yeah, whatever you say, that's what we're going to do. And it's great, because guess what? It's not always going to be great. Sorry, y'all, it's cold outside. And when it's cold, my nose just runs a little bit. Whatever the case is, that's beside the point. You have to have a team of people that are around you that want to see you succeed, that are not just going to tell you yes. They have to be on your creative side, and they got to be able to tell you the truth. Okay? So even though Glorilla's sister's complaining about, oh, her friends getting entitled to this and that, a third degree, her friends were there with her from the beginning. When she was Glorilla inside the studio, when she didn't have the prettiest teeth, before she got all the things or whatever, before she had her glow up. So I'm sure they're all contributing something, somehow, some way, sister. You can't just come in and feel like, oh, well, push them out of the way. Now put me in position when you don't even know how to run a play. You ain't been in the gym with us. You didn't learn a playbook. You don't even know what it is that we doing. And for you to come on the internet to out your sister like that is even crazier. I'm just saying. Imagine if, Beyonce and Kelly are sisters, right? They grew up together. They call each other sisters. Imagine if Solange was out here talking smack about them. Oh, they don't do this and they don't do that. We know there's something fishy in the water because they think it's thieves. And I just know about me and my siblings. Baby, I don't play about them and they don't play about me. So no, I'm not getting on the internet and I'm talking smack about nobody. Whatever happens in our family is going to happen internally. We're not going to get on the internet to do that. So I just know something else is going on there. But in addition to how her sister's behaving, there are certain people, for you, the entertainer, that I want you to watch out for, because it may not be just your family member. It could be people that you came up with inside of the industry that feel like, oh, well, now since you on, you owe it to me to put me on every single thing that you have going on. But I'm going to tell y'all this. It's a story. I was working with an amazing choreographer one time, and this person had a bunch of dancers around them who did all their concept videos and, all the free stuff to help them to get to where they actually are in the industry now. And because they came up with the choreographer in their like lowest points, the choreographer took these friends along for the journey, but as they were rising, their initial friends that they put on or that they were working with started being disrespectful. They were unprofessional. They just felt entitled. They were talking to this choreographer any kind of way that they wanted to. They were walking in and out of rehearsal, lacking professionalism and all these things. Well, if I was that choreographer, I would have had to put those friends to the side. Love y'all, mean it. We can maintain our friendship, but I'm trying to elevate to the next level and I want to take y'all with me. But if your mentality is not in the place that it needs to be for us to grow to, then you can't come with me on this journey. And to be fair, people that I know who are a part of that camp are upset and they do feel some type of way about the fact that, like, oh, they stopped putting me on to this and they stopped putting me on to that. But the truth of the matter is, this person had to grow up and glow up, and they had to be around people who respected their craft and their new position inside of the industry, because you see me as the peon that I was when I first started. You're not giving me the respect that I deserve as the current person that I am, that we work together to put this machine to grow to what it is. So nobody's entitled to your success. You got to pivot and move as you deem necessary, because not the people who came up with you will always stay with you the whole way. Love you, mean it. I want you to be successful, but if you are not getting with the program, what they say, y'all, no one's bigger than the program. Okay? You're not bigger than the program. You have to get with it or you got to get gone. And it is hard to do those things sometimes. You do have to separate yourself from people sometimes, but it's no love loss. It's just like, I can't work with you professionally, but I will always love you. And until you understand that, I can't take you with me to the next part of my journey, because I'm up to something far bigger than myself. And if I have to cater to your ego and to your feelings about what it is that you want to do in your lack of professionalism or wherever you are mentally in your career, then it stifles me and my opportunity to put other people on and to grow this machine that I'm trying to build. At the end of the day, the most thing that you guys are going to hear from me is that this industry is a business. What happens as artists is that we love our craft so much. We make so many friends along the journey. We want to be bestie, bestie, bestie. And that's a beautiful thing, to have friendships with artists, but it is still a business. So sometimes we got to push those friendships and leave them outside the door. We got to be co-workers and colleagues inside of the room to get the job done. And then when we step outside those doors, we could be friends again. Okay? So we got to make sure that we are putting ourselves in strategic positions, whether that be with family or friends. And at the end of the day, like I said, as glamorous as Glorilla looks, as glamorous as this industry looks, it is expensive. Okay? It's very expensive. So even with Glorilla's sister coming in asking for money, oh, we just need $2,500. First of all, I don't know what you're going to get with $2,500. That's going to last you a week. I got 3 jobs right now, and one of them jobs pay me that every week, every 2 weeks. Okay? I don't know what you're going to do with that. Rent is expensive. Maybe you need to pay your rent. But also, it's just like, you getting online and making all this hoopla about $2,500. I want you to know that Glorilla's upkeep is expensive. It's expensive. And you as the artist, your upkeep is expensive, from photo shoots, video shoots, paying your cell phone bill to film content, to post content, your agent, your manager, your headshots, your all the things, costumes. You got to go to these different events and auditions. You got to have a new look for these different things. It's expensive. You got to pay for the headshots to be printed over and over again. You have to print the resume that's on the paper. It has to be in color. It's expensive. So it's hard to carry somebody on your back if they're not contributing to the money that's flowing in. We can't have no leeches on us, baby. Love you, sister. I mean it. But I can't carry that load for you. You're going to have to come into this camp and do something in order to keep this engine moving forward. You can't just suck all the energy out. There's so many other people that are trying to do that. And the last person you want to have that from is your sister. Now, what I also want to pivot and talk about is, Glorilla had a video that came out recently called March. And I do think that whatever is happening right now is a distraction from her music video. But I was running on a treadmill at the gym the other day and I saw her music video and I said, hold on, the HBCU marching band community and the Black community at large is not making enough commotion for the doll. The video is flawless. She looks amazing. The looks are on. I want y'all to get into the footage. Look at this woman. She looks amazing. And it is a play on the theme of Drumline. Hence my Drumline Live hoodie right here. Drumline Live is on tour right now, spreading Black history and the history of HBCU marching bands and dance lines. So make sure y'all check them out if they're in the city near you. Shameless plug. But inside of that video, she is celebrating HBCU marching band culture. Yes, she paid homage to Drumline, the movie, and I was a Drumline, the new beat, so shout out to that movie. Wasn't as great as the first one, but I digress. It looks so good. But beyond that, when she gets into her portion where she's dancing with the dance line, and I know you girls gonna curse me out for saying this, but it's not called Majorette. Again, it is not called Majorette. I'm gonna say this one time for the people all the way in the back. It is not called Majorette because Majorette's 12 batons, but she is getting in her book and she is getting down with her HBCU dance line style. Okay? That is HBCU dance, ladies and gentlemen. And shout out to her choreographer, Amira. You did your due diligence, sister. You did your due diligence. The girls look good. Glow looks great. You were able to mix in Glorilla's style, her signature step, while also having her hit a 8 count, baby. I'm living. And I know this is also a play on what she did at the Bayou Classic, which was really wonderful. But we got to make some noise for the doll, okay? Because, wow. Eating down, okay? That was a really good music video. And, you know, of course, I'm the queen of connecting dots. So I know we started talking about T about Glorilla. Of course, this led to us talking about her music video. But of course, this leads to one of my favorite subject matters, HBCU Dance and the history of it. And since it is Black History Month, for the blackest berries, the sweeter the juice bunch, baby, we got to talk about the history of HBCU Dance. Now, every year I get in trouble because I tell people that that style is not called Majorette because Majorette's 12 batons, but I want to give you a history lesson. Right after this commercial, let's get a little history lesson.
The September is a setup because behind the scenes it really is ghetto. Yeah.
Make sure if you want to get them taxes done, hit up Entertainers Financial. That's me, and that's my business. So I want to help entertainers make as much money as possible. I've helped over 400 artists amass $2.1 million over the last 5 years. This is my 6th year in business, and I'm super excited to help even more people. This is my shameless plug. This is my flyer. Make sure you call me at 404-919-0617 because not only am I here to educate, but I'm also here to uplift. And while nobody is teaching dancers, entertainers, singers, actors, producers about financial literacy from the space of being a professional entertainer, I have the skills, I have the team, I have the tools. I want to teach you guys how to do it because I'm able to live a beautiful life. I am saving. I got a 401k. I have a Roth IRA. I have long-term savings. I have short-term savings. I have disposable income ready for and available to me. I'm pursuing my career. I am directing companies. I got a lot of things going on, okay? So I'm very financially fit, and I want to help other entertainers do the same thing. And I know that if I can do it, you can do it because I'm not one of those dancers or entertainers that is booked and busy every single day of the year. And when I go from one job, I'm going to the next one. I work hard just like any average artist, and I have my feet planted right now because I'm really focused on a very specific goal. And so I'm not taking anything outside of that. And I know God is leading me on that way. But I say all that to say is that I haven't been getting the jobs, okay? I have not been getting the jobs like I'm accustomed to. Of course, I pivoted. I got a 2-page resume in film and TV, but I'm really trying to pursue live theater, Broadway to be specific. And so I'm getting final callbacks. I'm getting inside of the rooms, but I think that people are afraid to take a chance on me. So if you were an agent or a casting director watching this, take a chance on me. But also, as a caveat to that, I'm telling you that I am not the artist that in the last year that has been on every single stage. I haven't. I did tours for a couple years, but I'm still financially fit enough to be able to afford the lifestyle that I live. And I want to help other artists be able to do that outside of just being a starving artist and professional entertainer. You can do it because it's possible for all of us, okay? So we're back. Now let's get back to our episode at hand. So, again, we're talking about the history of Black dance. And this style of dance in particular has not been codified, and it has been popularized by an amazing TV show called Bring It. I'm always going to give Diana her flowers, even though she doesn't necessarily like the things that I have to say and we disagree in public spaces, but I have a lot of respect for what she did for the culture. However, that show is not the origination of the style. Okay, it may have popularized it, which is great, and it popularized it by misinforming the masses with the name of a style. And I know all of us want to call it majorette, but it is not majorette. Okay, majorette's 12 batons, and let's talk about a little bit of history. So the first drill team that was ever on a field with a marching band, a female ensemble drill team that was on a field with a marching band, was the Kilgore Rangerettes at Kilgore College, and that was under the direction of Gussie Nell Davis in 1940. Okay, she was instructed to do something that was going to keep people inside of the stadium during the halftime performances because, back then in the 1940s, schools were extremely segregated. They had a lot of these prominent football games that were happening at these predominantly white institutions, and of course, the people in the stands would get belligerent and get drunk and get food and stuff like that or whatever. They would be there for the first and second quarter, but after halftime, they would lose half their audience. So they wanted to find a way to keep those cheeks and seats at the stadium. So Gussie Nell Davis was instructed to come to Kilgore College and to do something different. And so she put the first female ensemble on the field with a marching band. This is the first time we ever saw something like that. Now, while these women are still world renowned and they're still performing to this day, they are a predominantly white team. I have not, in my research, have not seen a Black woman on the field with them. But in front of them are 5 baton twirlers who are called the Majorettes. Now, if you also look at PWI institutions and if you look at Majorette on a global platform, those are women who twirl batons in a Euro-American style of marching. This is not something that is traditional to what we call HBCU dance and what you've seen on the show Bring It and what you see in the stands from these various HBCUs. Majorettes are also indicative of drum majors, but who are female who carry a smaller baton. Okay, so they move in the likeness of a drum major. When we look at HBCU dance lines, they don't move like drum majors. They have their own specific style. And even though they are an auxiliary that is in the front of the band, they don't carry a baton. Majorettes do. So the first traditional marching band was founded at Florida A&M University by William P. Foster on June 1st, 1946. Okay. This is when, again, colleges were segregated. So Black instrumentalist musicians in the marching band were not welcome to march at predominantly white institutions. And our greatest musical educators were not getting the jobs at predominantly white institutions. And so they went over to HBCUs to start these amazing programs. And William P. Foster said, we can do something different. Like, our people have our own style of music. We have our own way of moving. And so he took what was core style marching and he put a twist on it. They started playing top 40 music. They started dancing to music that was, indicative of Black culture. And they were also dancing on the field. So when you look at marching bands present day and you see them all doing choreography, and even when you look at the FAMU Marching 100, they don't take their horns away from their mouth when they're dancing. They're dancing with the horns in their mouths, which, a lot of schools have a lot of things to say about that, but that's another conversation for another day. Okay. And so after that happened at Florida A&M University, wow, words are hard. Other HBCUs decided to do the same thing. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit down this timeline, and we're going to get over to Alcorn State University, where Dr. Samuel Griffin decided that he wanted to do something innovative and new in 1968. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is so significant that happened in 1968 that, made him want to do something so nice and invigorating for our culture? And so what really happened was that was the year that of our greatest civil rights leaders was murdered in cold blood. Rest in peace, Dr. Martin Luther King. Happy Black History Month to y'all. But as you could imagine, Dr. Martin Luther King was one of our greatest civil rights activists, and he was not like other civil rights activists of the time, who I'm referring to as Malcolm X, who Malcolm X was like, we going eye for an eye. So you gonna come at me evil, I'm coming back at you evil. You gonna pull a gun on me, I'm gonna pull a gun on you. If you gonna come crazy at me, I'm coming crazy at you. But Martin Luther King, he had a different ideology. He felt like we can get through to them if we met violence with peace. If we showed them that we are like Michelle Obama, that when they go low, we go high. He took the peaceful route. So even in his peaceful state, he was still murdered in cold blood for what he was doing for our people. So as you can imagine, even talking about this now in 2016, I'm still upset about it, because it's just like, danged if you do, danged if you don't, right? And so people were frustrated. People were very upset. And so during that time, you know, there was a football game that they knew everybody would go to that was highly celebrated. It had the best athletes of the time. Again, we're talking about an era where things were still segregated. So Black people were not invited to PWIs, predominantly white institutions. And so at the Super Bowl of the South, or the Super Bowl of HBCU football games, the Orange Blossom Classic in 1968, this was when Florida A&M University had a head-to-head football game against Alcorn State University. And Samuel Griffin said, you know what, we're going to do something different. We're going to celebrate our culture. We're going to go out there. We're going to do something different. We're going to make sure people feel included inside of this. And so as a form of protest, he told his current majorettes, hey, put them batons down. I don't want y'all dancing with them batons. At this performance, you're going to wear a sparkly gold costume. You're going to wear some nice gold boots. You're going to dance jazz styles of dance, which are styles of dance that really, in that era, really showed what was like colloquial to them. So these were traditional, or like community styles of like social dances that were happening in the clubs, on the streets, and things of that nature. So not the jazz in the sense that we know it now as dancers, but more street movement, things like, if we can relate it to something that's happening in present day, TikTok dances, or like the nene or the whip, or whatever that little spoon feeding dance that you're doing now. Like, they were doing things that were in the culture at the time. Okay, so very much in that era of the 1960s, late 1960s, 1970s. So they get on the field and they wow the crowd. Everybody's like, oh my God, what are they doing? They got their afros out. They're celebrating the curves, and they're celebrating their bodies, and they're dancing, and people are excited, but some people are like frustrated by it. Like, how dare they get on the field in these types of costumes? It was frowned upon by certain people. Some of these women were kicked out of their classes. Some of them couldn't even go back to school anymore because everybody didn't agree with the style of dance that they were doing. But this was them breaking out of the norms of what American society said that Black people needed to be. They said, we are no longer conforming to your standards. We're not going to do Majorette the way that you want us to do it. We're going to create our own thing, and we're going to celebrate ourselves. Okay? So not only is this style of dance in protest to the standards of what American society was at the time, but it is also an indication of Black beauty, Black pride, Black elegance, just everything that embodied us at the time. And so it wasn't about being palatable. It was about being unapologetic. It was about celebrating yourselves. And it took styles from jazz and hip hop and African styles of dance, West African styles of dance, and colloquial movement that were done within our communities to celebrate us. Now, when you look at the University of Alabama, or Alabama University, whatever it's called, and you see their majorettes and they're twirling batons, and they have that little, very linear choreography inside of the stands, that's not a catch on. So the Golden Girls at Alcorn State University were the first to do this style. When you call this style majorette, you're saying Gussie Nell Davis created this right here. And while she is the beginning of female ensembles being on the field, she is not the creator of this style. The creators and the originators, the mothers of this style, who I will always take my hats off to and give them their just due credit, are the women of the Golden Girls at the Alcorn State University. What they did as dancers was not what they were doing as majorettes. What they were doing as majorettes were twirling batons. When they removed the element and they took it out of their hand and decided to do a style of dance that was in protest to the Euro-American norms in America, they completely eradicated that style and created something new. So I don't want us ever to give credit to someone else that is not due for what we have created. A lot of America does that enough for us. Donald Trump got on the mic and said, our country created everything. And everything that he mentioned on that list was created by a Black person. And it's just crazy to me that in 2026 of our good Lord, that we are giving away our style to someone and giving credit to someone in a genre that did not create it, in a genre that did not celebrate us, in a genre that told us to shrink ourselves, in a genre that told us to straighten our hair, to get rid of our curls, to cover up our curves, to trim them down, and to be apologetic about everything that is beautiful about us as a people, about us as Black feminine people, because I can't forget about the queer community that also made a huge contribution to what this style is. You ever heard of the Prancing Tigerettes? They even had their own TV show on Lifetime. These were queer, feminine presenting men that did this style. I can't remember if there were any trans women inside of that, but even in that case, people of the LGBT community are also identified by this style and also help to elevate this style. One of the coaches at Jackson State University, one of the choreographers, was a feminine man who helped them to elevate the style. That salt and pepper is nothing to be played with, okay? And you're going to see it throughout the diaspora, throughout the genre, throughout people exemplifying this style. So it is a celebration of Black feminine people, male and female. LGBTQ plus, as well as those cisgendered women that exemplify the style. It is celebratory of Black femininity. And so we cannot give that. I'm not going to say we cannot. We should not give away what is rich to us, what is owned and original to us, to someone else. And that's why I stand 10 toes down about this argument. And some people say it's not that deep, as long as people are doing things that makes them happy, as long as people are doing things that make them feel excited and make sure that they stay out of trouble. That's great. But I grew up in a conservatory. I'm also a dance educator. Please don't shoot me. I'm just telling my credentials because I want to show you that I'm qualified, okay? I'm qualified to talk about what I'm saying. When I was coming up as an educator or learning at my conservatories, and when I got my, dance education minor, we had to learn the pedagogy of dance, and we also had to learn the history of all styles of dance. I know that ballet was founded by Louis XIV. Okay, in Europe. I know different languages as it relates to it. I know that the pioneers in modern dance are Martha Graham, Lester Horton, Catherine Dunham. I know about these public figures. I know about their companies and what they did and how they died. But we're not talking about those things when it comes to HBCU dance. We're just saying, oh, it's a popular TikTok dance style. Sure, let's just call it a popular TikTok dance style. And shout out to Liberian Girl, because Liberian Girl got everybody on the internet, white, Black, Asian, tall, short, fat, ugly, skinny, beautiful. Everybody is doing Liberian Girl. And my industry friends are like, okay, we've had enough because you guys are not on beat. Everybody don't know musicality like us, y'all. But they starting to get it. This style should be celebrated. And as it continues to get its wings and it's making its way onto PWI campuses, which, by the way, it's been there for a while. We got schools like USC that went viral for it. But we also got my homegirl Kayla at UCLA with the brunettes. She graduated from Spelman. She's giving them real history. She's not teaching them Majorette. She's teaching them HBCU Dance. We had Coach June. She was also at another college out there in California. She's leaving there now because she's had a baby and her husband are moving, which shout out to them. But she's teaching them not Majorette, but HBCU Dance. Everywhere that I go, even though I was not privileged to be on a dance line at my HBCU because I graduated from FAMU, we did not have a dance line. I was the captain of Mahogany Dance Theater. However, throughout my career, I have made it my initiative to celebrate HBCU dance, especially when I came from conservatories that told me that's not real dance. Nobody's going to ever want to see that. You're never going to be a professional dancer doing that. You can't go and do extracurricular activities after school within that style because it's not a relevant style of dance. Meanwhile, I was cast in my first movie, which was Drumline a New Beat. I did Boomerang on BET as a featured dancer inside of the Good and Bad Dance segment where they celebrated HBCU dance. I did the Quad on BET. I toured with Drumline Live. I hosted for ESPN, Beyonce Homecoming, and the list goes on and on and on. So every time they told me that I couldn't, I've proven that I can. And it's also showing why it's important to codify and to recognize this style as what it is. Y'all, I'm starting to go over time. I want my episodes to stay under 30 minutes, but we've gone over because we're talking about something that I'm very, very passionate about. So if you see someone doing this style, make a comment on their post and say, yes, you look good doing that HBCU dance. Even if they don't attend a HBCU, every stand routine has lineage from an HBCU, okay? The first stand routine was called a catch-on, and it was done at Southern University, okay? Alcorn State started it, then it got to Jackson State University, and then Southern was sure to follow behind, and the list goes on and on and on. The style's not going anywhere. It's only getting stronger. It's only getting bigger wings. And I want us in this Black History Month to continue to celebrate what is original to us and our people and not give it away to a Euro-American style of dance, which is called Majorette. We do also have Black majorettes. We do have HBCUs that also have majorettes and featured twirlers as well, because I learned that there's a difference between featured twirlers and majorettes. Majorettes are the ensemble of baton twirlers. A featured twirler does a lot more tricks and things of that nature. However, those are also existing at HBCUs. And when you talk to any band director, they don't call dancers majorettes. They call them dancers. They call majorettes majorettes. And so it can't be a division between what's happening in the schools at the high school level and the collegiate level and what's happening at the community teams, especially when we're all doing the same style. I know we want to get married to a style or get married to a name because that's what we've called it all along. But we have to get together as a community and we have to say, this is what it is. And we're going to give honor and pay homage to our people, the struggle, the pride, the art as protest. And we're going to have to celebrate our people that way. And we're going to have to give credit where it is due. And that is back to the dance lines at HBCUs, with Alcorn State University Golden Girls being the first of them to do so. Anyway, y'all, I connected a lot of dots here today. I hope you walked away with a lot of information. I will scream this information to the top of my lungs at the highest mountaintops until we all get it. It is going to be my life's work to make sure that this style never dies and that we call it what it actually is. So look forward to more things coming out from me about this. And the last thing I want to say is that I want to give a shout out to my good friend LaQuinda. She goes by Coach Q, who was a graduate of South Carolina State University of the Champagne Dance Team. She has a project called the Black Sequence Project that opened my eyes to the history of HBCU dance because, like y'all know, there's not a lot of publicized information around about this style. And the first major publication that put out this content was ESPN's Undefeated platform, where I did a package on the Golden Girls of Alcorn State University, and that has since then trickled down to other areas. And so, no, I'm not going to shut my mouth about it, and I will always give credit where it is due. So y'all make sure y'all check out the Black Sequence Project and make sure that you guys get your information. History is so important, and we can never let it die because our existence is in protest. And as they continue to try to erase us and our impact and what we've done inside of this country, we will continue to prevail. We will continue to survive. We will continue to, be the innovators that we were born to be. This is a resistance. This is artist protest. I love y'all. Happy Black History Month. And I will see y'all on the next episode. I'm your girl Naderah. Talk to you soon. Peace.
Sheesh. Yeah. Everybody want to be in entertainment till it's time to get down to the business. Yeah. It's all smoke and mirrors. What you can't see behind our public figures. No, you convinced by the glitz and the glam, but let's talk about how it really goes down. That sleep is nice, the sacrifice, your rate of pay, the union stress. Yeah, they want you to stay in your lane. Got too many talents, what's your claim to fame? Opportunities unlimited. Look at Naderah, that girl is living it in. She bringing out all of her friends to talk about it so you understand. They talk about all of the noise, all over the blogs and in the tabloids. So teaching the industry lessons they learn, so tell them the volume so you don't get burnt. Film and TV, she does that. Theatrical, she been that. And Glitz and Ghetteaux is our podcast to show you how to achieve that. You were born to entertain, but this ain't for leisure, you came to get paid. The Glitz and Glamour is a setup, cause behind the scenes, it really is ghetto. Yeah, Glitz and Ghetteaux, Glitz and Ghetteaux, yeah, Glitz and Ghetteaux, Glitz and Ghetteaux. You were born to entertain, but this ain't for leisure, you came to get paid. The Glitz and Glamour is a setup, cause behind the scenes, it really is ghetto. Yeah, Glitz and Ghetteaux, Glitz and Ghetteaux, yeah, Glitz and Ghetteaux, it's Glitz and Ghetteaux.